agenda.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. It is exactly 9:36 a.m. South African time. We're crossing over to Switzerland, and we'll be joined by dear sister Maimouna Ahmed to talk to us about the niqab ban. Now, we understand that Switzerland has proposed a £900 fine, which equates to almost 17,000 South African rands. So it's a £900 fine for anyone covering their face under a new law which criminalizes the wearing of the niqab. So how does this impact on the Muslims living in Switzerland? How difficult will it make their lives going forward? And in general, what is life like for the Muslim living in Switzerland? Sister Maimouna Ahmed, the Islamic Central Council of Switzerland. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program. Alhamdulillah, thank you for your time and trying to unpack this issue with us on the show this morning.
Well, first and foremost, alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you for having us, or me, the Islamic Central Council. So as you mentioned earlier, I'd have to unpack a little bit. So this whole issue, or the initiative, the popular initiative called the burqa ban, which is funny in itself because it's not a burqa, it's actually niqab, was launched in 2016 March by the Egekinger Committee. They had also previously launched an anti-minaret initiative. So I am greeting you from Switzerland, the land of not only known for its neutrality, its watches and chocolate, it's also known for their unique bans. So I think it's worldwide the only ban with regards to minarets. And the Federal Council decided on December 20th, 2017, that it rejects a national ban on whaling and subsequently submitted an indirect counter proposal in 2018 in June. And ever since, we had a referendum, and the Swiss population has decided they want to have a niqab ban. So,
okay, so I also understand that the Swiss Muslims are currently poorly organized, suggesting that people that attend the mosques are not necessarily living in that area, and a whole host of other issues. What is the size of the Muslim community in Switzerland? And if you're saying they're poorly organized, is it because they don't live close by to each other? Are they just very scattered very far and wide that leads to this problem?
This is actually a very good question. I think we, the Islamic Central Council, are also dealing with this issue. I would say it doesn't have to do with the place or the region where you live in. It's more about the mentality of the Muslims. I think up to now, we are about 500,000 Muslims in Switzerland. And the surprising thing about the ban wasn't that a right-wingish party is inherently Islamophobic. This is nothing surprising to us. What was surprising and also very much saddening was the lack of anticipation and lack of resistance from the Muslims that were actually directed or directly impacted by this law, at least the women.
So is the reason for this law coming to the fore because you're saying that Muslims number about 500,000? Switzerland is a small country, so that must be quite a large number in their eyes. Is the reason for the niqab ban because the majority of the Muslim women don the niqab? And what do you believe is so threatening to the Swiss people about the niqab?
Well, we always try to understand the logic behind it because it's inherently Islamophobic and it has like a lot of Islamophobic tendencies or a notion. But I would just say it's this ban in itself is very much ridiculous because there are not even 100 women that wear the niqab in Switzerland. So it's specifically targeted as Muslims and polarizing the society. I would consider Muslimin living in Switzerland to be very much integrated in the society. And that might not be, something that the right-wingish party are pleased with. So I wear the hijab, the khimar, and I work, I go to school, I'm going to study soon, and I'm an integral part of the society. And I don't think they like to see that as much. But yeah, it's like a whole campaign. It was very much ridiculous because they were saying it's because there's a lack of security if a woman wears a niqab because you can't see her face. And, after that, we had the pandemic with the coronavirus and no one saw their faces. We were interacting with each other with a mask on. So that was one thing. And also, there are criminals that, they cover their faces, but these are mostly hooligans. But this whole campaign wasn't initiated with hooligans. It was clearly against Muslims. So there is an inherently Islamophobic tendency in this party, and it's nothing surprising to us.
Okay, with respect, I ask this next question: is it a fight worth putting your effort into? Because you said not more than possibly 100 Muslim women in Switzerland would don the niqab. So is it worth the effort of your organization, which is the Islamic Central Council of Switzerland? Should you not perhaps be utilizing those efforts in another area? You also mentioned that the Swiss government doesn't allow for minarets as far as our masjid is concerned. So I should imagine they're just very Western looking blocks of buildings which serve as a mosque. So to answer those questions, what are the other bigger challenges that you have on your hands as Muslims living in Switzerland?
Well, if you're aware or if you dealt with the Islamic Central Council, you will know that we every issue with regards to Muslims is our issue, whether it be small or large. We would consider this being large. We have to mention that this is not a law, but it was a constitutional article and in the federal constitution, which came about with the referendum. So we are talking about an exclusive law targeted at Muslims. We are part of this society and we are discriminated against for our belief. But we have the freedom to practice our religion. So this is a huge problem since we are the only religious group that is being targeted, which is why this is at utmost importance for us. We are going to deal with that, and we dealt with the minaret ban, we dealt with the niqab ban. If there is going to be a hijab ban, we are going to deal with it as well. But I think the biggest issue would be that there is a huge division within the Muslims in Switzerland. So there is no community that counteracts.
Why is there this huge divide amongst the Muslims in Switzerland? Obviously, if you were a very supportive, integrated community, you probably would have big wins in a short space of time. You talk about no minarets and hijab. How much of a challenge was that? And how do you bring the community together? What is it that's kind of, what is the stumbling block in the way?
I think there are a lot of restriction within the society if you are active. If you are like an activist when it comes to Islam or Islamophobia, you are very easily targeted as being, someone not to be dealt with. There have been issues or name callings like terrorists because we actually question a lot of laws. We question a lot of politics. We are engaged within the politic spectrum. And I think the division comes about because a lot of Muslims are also frightened. Resistance is a scary thing. Resistance means that you are basically going to be dehumanized. You are going to be defamed for the things you stand for. For instance, the hijab. A lot of people in Switzerland in itself don't understand why you would work, why you would get a job if you wear a hijab. We don't believe that. We are Swiss people. I grew up in Switzerland. I am a Swiss person, but I am a Muslim as well. So this is not a contradicts in itself for me. It's like it comes together. And for a lot of Muslims, I think they're not that politically aware, if I'm honest. A lot of people just somehow found out about the niqab ban, but the minaret ban as well. But a lot of other things that are going on. There was like a hijab ban discussed in a region in Switzerland, and a lot of people, or a lot of Muslims, didn't even know about it. So what we are doing mostly is awareness, raising awareness. Also, we're also trying to engage a lot of Muslim people, with the politics and a lot of things that are going on. And we also do a lot of events. So whenever you have the time, do have a look at our YouTube or Instagram. We engage ourselves in every branch there is. There are events, there are camps for kids. We have social media. We have, I would say we have YouTube channels. We have Instagram. So we try to be active on all platforms in all branches there are.
Do you have a directory of all the Muslim families living in Switzerland, and then obviously try and interact with them on a more regular basis, just to build the community and not for it to be as fragmented as it is at the moment?
Very much so. Very much so. I wouldn't say we have a registry or a statistic of all the database. However, we are always trying to contribute to our Muslim community with events that happen frequently, of course, yes. And we understand it's very important as well.
My final question, 2 questions would be, I guess, is the challenges you're currently facing as Muslims in Switzerland, and what have the successes been of the Muslim community in that country?
So the challenges is with regards to the ban now, and the problem is not the strength of a right-wing party. I think the problem is our weakness as a Muslim community to counteract. We, for instance, we fought against it, this ban, and we exhausted all democratic means we had at our disposal. And some Muslims have also actively participated, but the broad masses have let it wash over them. This is the sad part. This is what we're dealing with currently. And the other part is that we are actually very happy to be living in Switzerland. We have a lot of opportunities nonetheless. And I think being able to still wear the niqab, to still have a Muslim identity and the resistance, and also to be a great part of the society.
Maimouna Ahmed, the Islamic Central Council of Switzerland, shukran very much for being with us on the show this morning. Loved talking to you. Inshallah, we will talk again sometime in the future. Go well. Hopefully, and salams to our Muslim community in Switzerland. It is exactly 9:50 a.m. News and Views, wrapping up with our final interview for the morning with a senior researcher, Professor Mohammed Harun. We will talk with him in about a minute's time.